Our first guest of the podcast is a junior student athlete on the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's men's tennis team. He's also a creator and host of the podcast No Struggle, No Story, releasing episodes every Wednesday with elite athletes regarding their adversity that they face on and out of sport. Here to share the inspiration behind that podcast and how he copes with mental health is Patrick Cacciatore. Did I pronounce that right?
You got it right, my man.
There we go. So, Patrick, before we get going, I wanted to ask you some quick 5 this or that questions. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. No thinking, just go for it. So, first one, singles or doubles for tennis?
Doubles.
All right. Road or home matches?
Home matches, baby.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Text or call?
Call.
And last but not least, now that you're in Nebraska, Valentino's or Runza?
Runza.
Okay. It's the fries, isn't it?
I know, it's a different one. I've never heard of Runza before I came here. I'll tell you that. We definitely don't have that in Florida. So
Yeah, being a Florida transplant, Patrick, why Nebraska? You've been here now for 3 years. What was your decision to come here?
You know, when I came to Nebraska, I had an immediate sense for the community here. And I think I've found that at University of Nebraska, the resources that they provide you with, the staff, the psychologists, the nutritionists, our specific coaching staff are honestly the best that I've ever seen. And I really feel like when I came here that everybody cares about you. And really, I had some past experiences where I felt like it was very business-like in collegiate athletics. And here I really felt that it's a family and that they really care about my well-being before myself as an athlete. And that's something that I really put a huge emphasis on during my transfer process after my freshman year. And so when I came here, it seemed like the perfect opportunity. And I was really looking to kind of grow myself as a person before anything and looking for an experience to where I'm going to leave here, better than when I came. And I really feel like I found that with the University of Nebraska.
Awesome. And yeah, Patrick, we're glad you're here. And as a new member of that sports psychology team, one of those things you did mention to helping you come to Nebraska was, worthy psychologists. So with that, you also created, like we mentioned in the intro, a podcast, I believe this summer, called No Struggle, No Story. Can you just share what that podcast is about and what was the inspiration behind creating it?
Yeah. So on No Struggle, No Story, I speak weekly with highly successful athletes about adversities or struggles that they faced in their life and how they've been able to use these struggles and adversities to really use it as a learning experience rather than a negative experience in their life. And I think it's been an unbelievable opportunity for me to really use my past experiences. So, to kind of get into how I started it, at the end of my freshman year, I suffered with some pretty serious depression and anxiety. I was struggling to leave my room at times when I ended my freshman year. And through kind of this transfer process and really I went on like a little bit of a soul search, I'd say, and really tried to find, where is this coming from? Why am I so unhappy? And I really found that the way I was judging myself day to day was what really needed to change. I was really living or dying by the sword of my tennis career. And I felt that the real way to judge myself was on my character and the person I am and really my effort day to day. Like, how am I being towards other people? Am I giving it everything I have? Am I being a good person? Am I able to help others? Am I being selfless? And if I'm able to check those boxes at the end of every day, I've found that that's really where my happiness stems from and that's how I want to live my life. And that's what I'm going to do. And so kind of by creating the podcast and after I went through this process, I really wanted to use it to help others because I felt like this was something that is super common. I was like, there's no way that I'm the only person that's going through this. I've heard other people speak about it. And so I was really inspired to kind of use my experiences and my platform to really speak with other people that have gone through similar experiences and kind of even learn from myself. from all these people. What kind of processes were they going through to cope with it? What kind of things were they doing to help use it as learning experiences and really kind of create this sense of happiness in their life? And so it's been, it's a huge pride of mine, and it's been an overwhelmingly awesome experience, to be honest.
So Patrick, with this, I think the beauty in what you created too is you're learning while you're on this journey of discovering who you are, you're also learning how connected you are to other people who are going through similar things. What have been some of those common themes that have stuck out to you during these episodes? Because you're at you've done 13 now?
13 now, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, it's really incredible that, the reason I use highly successful athletes is that these people are ones that I think society puts on a pedestal a lot of the times and really look at as people with these, superior talents or things like that. But at the end of the day, after speaking with them, it becomes even more apparent that really they face the same exact struggles that every person does every day. But the way that they've really been able to be so successful is because they've learned how to cope with it, and they've learned themselves and their identity. And so what I've really found to be the common theme, our support system is number one. I think all of these people have a great support system, and they have positive people around them that are encouraging them and that are there for them when they're facing these struggles, and that are letting them know, how great they are, really, because I don't think that I think it's really a lot about who you are rather than what you do. And I think the next one that I've really seen is that their identity does not come from sport. A lot of them, found themselves in those ruts because of that exact ideal, and that's where I found myself in my depression and anxiety, was from my struggles in sport, and that was all I was judging myself by. But, people such as Adrian Martinez or Maddie Kubik have really spoken out a lot about, the fact that they don't judge themselves by their sport. They're judging themselves by how great of people are they being. A lot of them use their faith to really propel them forward, and their values, and that if they're, staying true to those, then that's all they can do, and that they're really believing that if they're giving it everything they have, that the best days are ahead. And those have been the two biggest themes that I've really found from my podcast experience.
Now, Patrick, I imagine too, for some of these people, they maybe gained a sense of relief, after sharing their story. Did you feel that when you started this journey? And what has been the biggest differences you've noticed since your freshman year, since you began this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think really I gain a sense of relief from helping others, and that's something that I pride myself off of. And so I've really enjoyed going through this process, and going into it, I really felt like, if I can help one person, that would mean the absolute world to me. If I could really affect one person and, help their life better and help them learn something, then that was all it was going to take for me. But, doing this on a daily basis and the feedback I've gotten has been overwhelming. And I think that's been, something that I really take a lot of pride in. And I found that all of these athletes, really do take pride in sharing their experiences, because all athletes do want to be looked at as more than just a tennis player or a volleyball player or a football player. And so I think through this experience, you're really learning about them and really about who they are, and really realizing what it means to be a great athlete. It's not all about how well you throw the football or how well you hit the ball, but it's really about, how hard do you work, how great of a person can you be, and how great of a leader can you be in your community. And that's something that I think has been a relief for all these people speaking on the podcast.
So Patrick, along with that, if there was ever a time where mental health seemed to be really at the forefront of most importance during this time of a pandemic, right? So how have you as an athlete and as a student and as a human being gotten through this time where we've had to, what they call social distance? I call it more physical distancing, because I think there's that component of sociability that still needs to be there, especially now. How have you gone through this, especially with school starting, delay of sport, and what's some advice you give for other people?
Yeah, it's been tough. Don't get me wrong. I think that's the biggest thing that people don't realize is that, everyone, you're not alone. I think it's okay to not be okay at times has been something that's really gotten me through it, is that some days you're going to wake up and it's a heavy weight on everyone's shoulders, what's going on in the world right now. And, there's no shying away from it. I don't think that it helps to block it out, because I think it just is what it is. It's an experience to grow from. But I think at the same time, I've really found happiness in finding the small victories every single day. I stick to a pretty strict routine every morning that I do, yoga, some gratefulness meditations. I think it's super important to really be grateful for what we have. We've lost a lot, but I think, you realize that the true core of life and like what makes us happy are the people around us, and the people we have around us, our community. And in a lot of ways, this virus has brought us closer, and it makes you even more grateful for what you have and the opportunities that we've been given as people, not only athletes, but I think anyone in business. You realize, wow, man, it was great to even be able to, give that guy a high five when I would walk into work or when I would walk into practice. But even that's been taken away at times. But at the same time, you still have these people in your life. You still have people to support you. And I think finding the things that make you happy are really important. I'm a big runner. So, running really helps me de-stress and get out. And I think, being with your loved ones has been the biggest one, is that stay true to your support system and judge yourself off of your values, because you never know when your sport or your work or anything like that is going to be taken away from you, especially this time. So be grateful for what we can always.
Yeah, and I think that last statement really is a reminder of how important it is to appreciate those little things, because like you said, those big things, you never know when they may be taken away. Another aspect of what you just said that I found very important was the impact having a support system can have on us, and really relying on those loved ones. One of those people, I imagine, being, your partner, who's also an athlete at Nebraska. Can you share with us what that dynamic is like, being in a relationship with somebody that's also a student athlete, and, just the ability to make, or the inability to make time for each other? Can you share, if you don't mind, more about that?
Absolutely. She's Riley. She's on the volleyball team here. It's honestly been probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. For a lot of reasons, is because I've found somebody else in life who truly shares the same values as I do, and somebody I think that really makes me a better version of myself. And I think that's been the best thing, and that's what I've really judged a healthy relationship off of, is that I feel like we make each other better. And I think, maybe we may not be able to see each other as much as, the normal couple because of our strict schedules and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, I'm proud of her for it. And, she's an extremely dedicated person, as am I. And, I look at it as a great thing, because she's out there trying to become the best version of herself. And I'm going to support her through everything. And I know she's going to do the same for me. And, that's been, a huge rock for me throughout this whole entire coronavirus, and really just my life, is that having somebody at the end of the day who I know has my back, and I'm going to have hers. And it's the reason I've really, fallen in love with her. And it's been the thing that has really been such a positive impact in my life throughout this whole coronavirus.
Yeah, Patrick, you can't hear in the background, but we have thousands of people screaming with how beautiful that statement was. Really, and I mean that, very genuine from the heart. With that, Patrick, one thing I wanted to ask you too has, during this time, because you're somebody that I can tell tries to look at, the positive in things. Is there anything that this time has allowed you to do that maybe you couldn't have done when you were in full season, when this pandemic was not happening?
Absolutely, a lot. I think we were mid-season when this whole coronavirus came, and I think, the podcast is the first thing. I feel like during our season, it's really tough to formulate something that is so time-consuming, such as a podcast. And so when I had all this time, I'm a big believer in doing the absolute best with what you have. And so when this happened, and I felt like, the biggest part of my life had been taken away from me in a big way, what am I going to do to fill that time? And so, helping others is something I pride myself off of, like I said earlier. And so, this podcast has been, a life-changing experience for me to be able to go and share my experiences and learn from others and really build a platform that I hope can really begin to destigmatize the idea of mental health and the idea that it's not something that people talk about a lot, and it's not something that a lot are willing to share. But I think now more than ever, there was a need for this podcast, and there was a need for positivity and a need for joy. And even if it's the smallest 20 minutes of your day, I think it can really have a huge effect on somebody's outlook in their life. And so that experience has been huge for me, to really feel like I'm making a difference, or at least trying to. And then second of all, I think just really learning about myself, I think more than anything has been the biggest thing. I've had time to really sit back and really look inside and really find out, what am I about? What's my identity? And, I've really found what makes me happy and what I'm passionate about. And, that's through something as simple as just what's making me happy every day. I don't have tennis anymore, so what do I want to do? And so I kind of use those feelings and those experiences and kind of it's really found who I am throughout this whole process. So it's been, honestly, one of the toughest times of my life, but at the same time, it's been probably the most productive and the best.
So Patrick, you are undoubtedly making an impact for people listening, and I know I can speak on behalf of our team here. We need more people like you to help destigmatize something that is more normal. None of us are happy 24/7, 100% of the time. And that, like you said earlier, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to rely on other people. It's okay to, if I'm feeling a certain way, to express that. And your podcast does that. Before I ask you my last question, Patrick, where can people follow you and listen to your podcast, No Struggle, No Story?
So yeah, there's an Instagram page. You can find it at No Struggle, No Story. And to listen to the podcast itself, you can go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. So it's pretty much on all platforms. If you go to the Instagram page as well, the link is in the bio to press on. And yeah, there's been 13 episodes, and I think each one of them has had, its own specific set of values that I think so many people can learn something from.
And Patrick, last but not least, who are you? Who is Patrick Cacciatore? Describe yourself.
I think Patrick Cacciatore is a very upbeat, positive, selfless, process-oriented person that I think no matter what I'm doing, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I really, try and be the best version of myself no matter what. And I'm always trying to help other people. I enjoy, I really take pride in, affecting someone else's day and really being a positive impact in it. And I think, I really hope to be a good leader in my community no matter where I am, and set good moral values for people. And I really just do the best that I can and enjoy life. But at the end of the day, I'm just, an old school Florida boy. But those are the values.
He's a Florida boy, a Husker, a tennis player, a podcaster, a leader, an overall great human being. Thank you, Patrick, for joining us today. Again, you can follow him in his podcast, The No Struggle, No Story, on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Again, Patrick, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ndu. I really appreciate it, and I'm super excited to see where this takes you guys.
All right. Go Big Red.
Yes, sir.